Hey, what's up YouTube, Sky Badger here, and as you could see, the game is over. So the game ended on day 42, and yeah, there's not much more to say about that. We're going to do a quick reflection, have a look at the scoreboard, and see where we sit. But apart from that, it is basically all over. So as you can see, King Kongo finishes in first, Roger in second, and myself in third. Not much between us, but still, it's a difference. So our coalition came in first, and that's the way we wanted it to end. So ultimately, we came out winners, and everyone alive at this point really came out winners because we managed to come to an agreement. So really, even the Caribbean came out with 1 victory point. I'm not sure you get gold for that, but you might do. Yes, let's see. Yep, the Caribbean got 1 gold for his 1 victory point. So good on him. So as we can see on the last day, the largest economy pretty much matches what we see up here in terms of the leaderboard. I could have, with proper morale management, and if I was to move my capital, probably jumped ahead of Pakistan. We invested a lot in our economy, and I think, yeah, if we have a look here, even on the last days, we're still building a lot, and we could have easily have built more. So it's a little bit of a shame that we didn't get there in the end, but I suspect with a little more time we could have got there. If we have a look at the Australians though, we can see that overall they didn't really have too many troops. They were upgrading their forces and working on a lot of armor and stuff, but they never really, and they don't really have an air force. So had things gone south, I'm sure with King's Air Force, my Navy, Pakistan's army, we would have been just fine. So that's how we feel about that. If we have a look up here though, we can see that they have a lot of their force concentrated, and like I said, a lot of armor. And the problem with armor is it's weak in cities. So all we'd have to do is hold out in cities and play on the defensive. So if we switch on morale map for you guys that like it, we can see how the borders ended up here. We can see that the Australians did get to claim quite a bit more land in Asia, and that wasn't really enough, as I thought it might be, to stop us from ending the game. Man managed to get quite a bit of Lord Keck down here, and I managed to get the rest of him as well as he wished. So if we come up here as well, we can see and have a good look at the borders just for you guys. You can see that I have a little bit of land up here in Europe, not much, a little bit of Germany, and I think there might be a little bit of Poland. I'm not sure about all these countries in here, I'm not going to bother naming them all. So that's how the land was shared up in Europe. Due to what happened in Europe with our kind of uncoordinated attack, I'm surprised that we were able to get land. We managed to come through into Greece, and Greece was undefended as Yugoslavia let us march in. Yugoslavia recognized he was defeated and gave up, so that was very nice of him. So if we come over here and we have a look in the upper sections of North Africa, we can see what we already knew really. Nothing much has changed here. So that's the border in North America, and then if we come over into South America, we can see that this is all that South Argentina ended up with. South Argentina in the end didn't have many troops. He kind of got unlucky, and he was the real powerhouse in South America, and seeing him lose the way he did was kind of sad, but it would have been pretty hard for him to recover at this point. I think he was just happy that he made it out with some of his land still intact, and that was enough for him. So as we can see, King controls a lot of South America. He's the pink, and if we move up further, we can see the 50-50 split down the middle of North America. We can also see these few remaining what we consider dead nations still have a few troops left, which is interesting to see. It appears Germany even finished the game with some, which is good, and the Caribbean managed to finish with 1 troop. That 1 troop, we were going to chase it down, but we gave up on it earlier on and managed to make it out onto the ocean up here and must have traveled up there. So there isn't much more to say at this point, and that's really how the game ended. It's time for the reflection part of the game though, and this is something that I advise all of you do at some point or another in the game. You look back over it and you think, what did I do well, what could I have done better, and what can you do next time? Even if you win, this is a good skill to use, and it will help you improve so much if you just look at what you could have done better. So the first observation I'm going to make is my use of artillery and the lack of. So I didn't use artillery at all this game, and it really showed during my invasion and work in North America. There was a few sections and a few large stacks of troops that I just couldn't attack, I couldn't move, I didn't want to use aircraft on because it would waste it, and I ended up waiting for rockets to be produced and just, construct a rocket, 7 hours later fire it, construct another 7 hours later, fire it, and that takes a long time. So going forwards, I need to reincorporate artillery back into my infantry formations and stacks to make them more effective. Now, going back off that infantry point and carrying on in that direction, we didn't use too many ground forces this game. Early game we had quite a lot of tanks and infantry, but we really specialized in our Air Force and Navy, and that showed. And while our Navy was incredibly useful, especially in destroying the large stacks of troops Quebec had up and along this coast, we lacked ground troops to make our own invasions and perform the role of an efficient army. So going forwards, I'm going to need to refocus and actually spend a little more time on my army in the future. And we can see that just in the research. Like if we have a look at that stack there, we can see that my anti-tank isn't even upgraded, my anti-air isn't upgraded, so we need to spend more time there in the future if we want to stand a chance. Had things turned and we had have lost initiative, or we had have lost our Air Force, we would have been in no position to fight, while our Navy would have held pretty well and would have easily been able to hold off any invasion. Once they hit land, we would have been in a bit of a pickle. So that's really the only thing we could have improved on, really, is our use of our army and developing it further in the future. Some things we did really well was the use of our Air Force and really making the most of that advantage. We did build a lot of aircraft this game. In fact, I'm not exactly sure how many I have. So if we go around the world quickly now and lose that there. So if we have a look at that there, you can see that we finished the game with 40 interceptors, 37 tactical bombers, and 6 naval bombers. Now, we should have probably had more than that, and we could have definitely have used more than that. If we have a look at what King Congo has, for example, he has a hell of a lot more in South Africa alone. His Air Force is definitely far more advanced than mine, and it shows, although mine may have a few more upgrades. We need to focus and build a lot more aircraft in the future to really make the most of that advantage. It's okay having a small army if you make up for it in the air. So, although that is something we did well, I definitely need to refocus and focus on that again in the future, is building up our Air Force and using it efficiently. So I'm going to end the episode here, guys. It's been nice playing with you, and I will admit it was a pretty easy round and the quickest I've ever played. 42 days is pretty quick, and it would have definitely ended earlier if it wasn't for us having to wait for that update. So I feel like that update really condensed the amount of time and the length of this game. Had that update not been implemented and coalition wins were not a viable option, it would have likely resulted in me, King, in Pakistan wiping out the other players and going for a retirement victory. And that could have taken a long time, considering we would have had to have island hopped all across Australasia. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode or let's play or whatever I do after this.